Get back to the review of Chalt Book 1. Earlier this, uh, like, 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, I did a review of Chalt Book 1, and now I'm going to do a new and improved Chalt Book 1 review. Hello everyone, this is the Witch King of Summer, and after that little introduction, I must say that Chalt is quite honestly one of my favorite settings, even if it doesn't scratch my particular peccadillos and interests within the hobby quite in the way that I prefer. But let's get started, shall we? Screen layout, present, share screen. Here we go. So here is Chalt. This picture and a few others within Chalt were drawn, or painted rather, exclusively by Venger Satanis. Now, I know I've never reviewed Venger Satanis' books on my YouTube channel. However, I did review at least one of them and promote his Kickstarters on my old blog, which is now defunct due to some technical difficulties. So, Chalt, what is it? In some ways, it's post-apocalyptic. In others, it's Star Wars. In some others, it's parody and satire. It's part Dune, part Star Wars, part Call of Cthulhu. Um, it's a post-apocalyptic, gonzo, science fantasy, eldritch, satiric world. The basic idea is that about 100 years ago on Chalt, there was a war that ended up waking up the old ones, Cthulhu and Hastur and Atlachnaka and countless other Lovecraftian gods and mythos creatures. They were all awoken from their slumbers beneath the surface of Chalt, and they began, in their rage, to fight against Chaltian natives. Because, for the past 1,000 years, the Chaltian natives have advanced as a culture and gone beyond the superstitions and spirituality and placating the old ones in their sacrifices. Ultimately, however, that stopped, and the rapid march of progress in science pushed forward. Now, this did advance technology and society for Chalt, but Chalt was already, as far as I know, a desert world. But when the old ones awoke, the natives and their government decided to nuke Cthulhu and the other old ones. And now their corpses drain out into the world in the form of Zoth. The Zoth can be transmuted into the spice melange. And the spice melange is a drug very much like the spice melange from Dune. In Chalt, however, this is a map of the general setting. You're free to go off the map if you want, but you have Kra'a Dumek, Agribah, the Sukba, Ascendaas, Vega Corso, the Black Pyramid, Jarlet, Sunken Library, and then the Chartreuse Sea. And approximately 1 week of travel is this length on the map. It's a desert world. It has two suns. It has um, a moon, several moons, I think. And originally, Chult started as a pseudo-medieval land with elves, dwarves, snake men, clerics, magic users, and dragons. It was steeped in ancient traditions set forth by those who worshipped the Old Ones. This period is called the Age of Legend. So it tells you about the history of the Tech Age, and now we are in the Obsidian Age. It is a world cursed with endless conflict. And if you like post-apocalypse, Call of Cthulhu, Eldritch horror, comedy, all kinds of stuff, you're free. You would love this. And best of all, if you ask Venger for a discount for like how I did, or I was like, hey man, I want to review your books, but I only have the first one. Can you give me a discount so I can review the second and third one, which I plan to do? Um, he said, yeah, here's a discount code. Just forward me $60 and I'll get you the two books. Like, what the hell? Venture's an awesome guy. He cares about his customers and he tries to make the deals as easy as possible so that you can get a hold of his books. That's something I love about him. Now, there is the bit of a elephant in the room when it comes to his politics and his opinions. Now, me as a left-leaning person, I do not agree with his politics like at all. I think they are stupid, but I do not denigrate Venger as a person. I think that he makes fantastic games and he's a funny guy. He's really nice and I highly recommend his books. Um, so of course it goes over the history, talks about the land being a land of travelers. Um, there are mystical gateways to darker worlds and dimensions, so you can basically travel across the multiverse. Desert survival, wearing armor, radiation, mutations. Places to visit include Kraadumek, and yes, I'm using a glottal stop because I'm fancy that way. Kraadumek is um, it's a city constructed of obsidian, glass, and steel where nearly everyone's thoughts are controlled by a gargantuan purple demon worm. The longer one stays in the city, the greater hold the demon worm has upon one's mind. And in fact, one of the adventures in here has you destroying Kraadumek and freeing the natives from the control of the monster. Then you have the kingdom of Ja'alet, a matriarchy ruled by a council of women known as the Harmonious Validity, who've decreed that masculinity is inherently evil and those born male are inferior to females. Over the years, Ja'alet has culturally enslaved all the male humanoids within the borders. The matriarchy of the city receives daily bribes from the goddess Tha'ats, one of the new gods that has risen in the age of Obsidian. Like all divine entities, the Otts grows more powerful as worshippers increase in both number and devotion. So it's basically a parody of the long dead meme of the Gillette commercial that was critiquing masculinity and how boys should be raised. I'm not going to share my opinion on that. I'm just letting you know that's where it came from. Then you have the largest city in Chult, Agribah, vibrant with richly colored silks, yellow, orange, lime green, and turquoise. The fragrance of exotic spices and well-prepared street food sold at every corner saturates the city. So if you basically want a Arabian Nights kind of city with sorcery and high technology, um, and all kinds of colorful things, gladiatorial arenas. Um, oh, and I should mention, Chalt is a world with slavery, as you might have noticed with um, Dalet. So I think another setting that you could compare Chalt to is probably Dark Sun. Um, but yes, it's I mean, look at this artwork. You have a giant sandworm with two moons in the sky coming and cresting over the vast Sukpa and the mountains beyond. Um, the rules themselves are easily transferable to 5th edition as well as OSR games. I actually tried to run Chalt with DCC, which unfortunately did not work out how I wanted. I personally don't think DCC is for me. I like a lot of the things in it, but it's just not for me. Then you have the Chartreuse Sea. It consists entirely of yellow-green slime. So this is the blood of the old gods, but uh, it's basically become polluted, and it's no longer pure Zoth. Um, then you have Vega Corso. There's various factions, including the Cults of the Desert, the Skeevers, which are desert pirates found who are on anti-gravity barges. Then you have the Hunter-Killer droids, which are basically Skynet Terminators. Spice Frackers. So basically, um, Zoth in its purest form can be fracked out of the ground and turned into spice. And um, unfortunately for the natives of Chalt, that means that outer space interstellar travelers have come to Chalt to frack and mine the Zoth out of the ground to turn into spice and exploit the natives. Then you have the Deathstalkers, who are basically a nihilistic bunch riding life to the bleeding edge. I mean, I think what you can compare them to is the Mad Max Raider gangs that you see in what was it? Uh, Mad Max 2. I forget the name. Road Warrior, yeah, Road Warrior. Or even the Mad Max video game that came out in 2014 or so. Then you have the Dharma Initiative, which if you know Lost, you know it. You have sandworms, scorpion devils, alien dinosaurs. You see these things? These are Ga'ath rules, and they are no fun. They have 18 hit dice plus 12 to attack, 2 attacks per turn. They do 2d12 damage, 100 HP, 12 AC. They save at 2 plus, but yeah, there's lots of things on Chult that can kill you. You also have abominations, and as you can see in this picture here, there is nudity in this book. So that is why my channel is marked for 18 plus. And then you have a list of possible treasures, gigantic spider droids, magic items, exotic races of Chult, which include infernal elves, moon elves, blood elves, sky elves, and midnight elves, and sun elves. It also has a random name generator, advantage and disadvantage, critical success and failure. And then you have beneath Kra'adumek, City of the Purple Demon Worm, which is the adventure I mentioned earlier. The second adventure is Inside the Frozen Violet Demon Worm. And the fourth adventure slash encounter is the Gamma Incel Cantina. It's a very interesting place. I mean, it has um like it's like a nightclub, strip club, brothel, bar, restaurant hybrid. It's crazy. Um it like has the patron has a random table of uh third uh four no wait let's see 100 patrons. Wow. So you have 100 patrons. They include everything from Penis Queeg, a pilot who just parked his starship, yellow-skinned banana slash penis-headed alien with swollen ganglia. He's holding a brand new plumbus. Or there's Trina, thought, human, blonde hair, blue-eyed space Muslim, smoking long, thin hookah, likes humiliation and spanking. Or there's RDFU, protocol droid, stainless steel, just arrived from his home planet New Alderaan. 2. Hoping for school souvenirs after successful night hunting Chult natives. Abrasive personality carrying thermal detonator. Oh yeah, I should mention, Gamma Intel Cantina is actually not something that the locals know about really, because there is a cloaking field over it. So the outer space interstellar travelers can come to Chult and park their ships in the parking area of Gamma Incel Cantina, get a drink, have some sex, eat some food, move on into space again, or just keep going back to mine the Zoth. But yes, there's all kinds of weird named characters, lots of exotic dancers, prostitutes, um, tells you the uh, sexual natures of the various characters. Because, yes, Venger is a person who likes sexual content in his role playing games, and I mean, it's up to him. I don't mind. If you want to do that in your game, go for it. It's not 100% for me, though. Not with most of my groups, anyways. And then you have like this kind of artwork, which are just stock photos. They're not really my thing. I don't like them too much. And then you have a D100 random ability score table where Venger apparently got his children and his wife to roll 3d6 multiple times, 100 times each, for each of the 6 attributes. Um, so that took a long time, but it allows you to roll a d100 and pick your attribute scores. And then this is a fantastic piece of art. And then you have Gamma Incel Cantina. There's the map of the building. And then you have the Black Pyramid. The Black Pyramid is one of the mega dungeons of Chalt. And I should mention, as you can see so far, Chult is a gonzo setting. So not only does it have cyborgs and laser guns and obsidian swords and sorcery, it also has many, many, many weird things, like, for example, there is in room 5 of the interior of the Black Pyramid, an insane human is running around a garishly colored room laughing maniacally while having conversations with all the furniture, yellow, red, and green mannequins, and strange objects within his playhouse. The madman's name is Ruba An, and he wears strange gray attire. None of the stuff he's talking to seems to be sentient, except for a formidable-looking robot named Kaanki 3000. During their interaction, Rubuan might do any number of things. Ask for foil or rubber bands in order to decrease the size of his balls, climbing up the leopard drapes, talk to a pink female mannequin who's quite busty in familiar tones. Her name is Miss Yvonne, pretending to swim across the floor like a fish, demanding everyone play his favorite game, Candy Monopoly Electrocution. The loser gets shocked for 1d6 damage. Or there is a room where a movie theater is showing, like, it opens to um, a movie theater where a projector is shining on a huge silver screen. The movie shows people living in a city called New York after some kind of apocalypse. Survivors are trying to make their way out. Several humanoids are sitting in theater seats watching the movie. Most of the seats have stains, broken springs, or the upholstery is coming loose. So yeah, there's all kinds of crazy and wondrous things that you can have in Chult, including weird gonzo, weird, wacky, wahoo things like a tiki bar or a videodrome or um, uh, like just tons of pop culture references. There's a room that opens to a beautiful sandy beach with an expansive ocean view. The wreckage of an airplane is strewn along the shoreline, and investigating reveals several pieces of sea glass and a water-damaged zine laying in the sand. Its issue is number 5, Last Days of Freedom, containing a short story about the Dharma Initiative. Various hatchways leading to other rooms can be found nearby. So yes, it's a reference to Lost. And then there's a fallout shelter, or a psychic war going on in another room, or a room that houses anthropomorphic fruit. There's also a podcast where a overweight bearded man named Matthew sits at a desk in the middle of the room talking into a microphone. Across from him is the man he's interviewing, Korg the Conqueror. And so he's basically interviewing a charismatic star barbarian. And the player characters can just wander into the room and, well, they can stay around and listen to the podcast, or they can stand too long and a Zaavek death squad bursts in the room and starts attacking everyone in sight. Something that's very interesting about Chalt's Black Pyramid, and I think most of Venger's dungeons, is that most of the dungeons can be solved not through combat necessarily, but also through roleplay, which I really enjoy. Um, but yes, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of rooms. I think there's like over 100 of them. Um, but yes, this is Chalt. Um, I highly recommend it. It isn't perfect. The artwork could be better with some of the um, pictures of stock photos, but honestly, I would probably give this game setting a 3 for style and a 5 for substance. So 3 plus 5 divided by 2. So it is a 4 out of 5, similar to my review of Whitechester. I hope everyone has enjoyed this review, and if you watch it and like my channel or my content, please, please, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And if you have any funds standing or letting around, hanging around in your wallet, please, please do not hesitate to support my channel. If you like the content, please support me on Patreon or Ko-Fi. Or is it Coffee? I don't know. But with Patreon, you'd have to give me a set amount of money a month, like $5 a month. And if you do that, I will be very grateful, and you will be supporting this channel and letting me get more role-playing games and video games and books to review on this channel to make it bigger, better, and awesome. Anyways, if you are interested, please do so. But this is the Witch King of Samra, and I am signing off.